What is up, team? Welcome back to the Red Storm Rapid Reaction Podcast. I'm Pat Kane, here to break down yesterday's 91-74 victory over Central Connecticut State. Similar to our first two games, a little bit of a slow start, a little bit more of a competitive first half than we'd hope. Similar to our previous game, it was a three-point shooting by Central Connecticut State in the first half that really kept them in the game. They were 6 for 13 from three. I posted a video on Twitter of all those 13 attempts. It's a combination of a lot of things. I mean, there were some looks that were way too wide open. Can't happen. There were some decently contested looks that we could do better on, just closing out or fixing up some tightness in terms of working through screens and communicating. And then there were some really well contested shots that went in as well. And it's always going to be a combination of those. You hope that you can limit the very open looks and compete on a night-to-night basis with teams who are always going to try to exploit your aggressiveness in the half court on defense and try to get situations where that aggressiveness hurts us. In this game, it wasn't so much of our full court pressure that led to open threes. It was more in the half court. But I recommend you guys check out that video and see for yourself. Similar to what I've said in the past and what we've seen, Central Connecticut State came out and they attacked Joel in high pick and rolls. The first 4 threes they took in the game, all were not a direct result of the pick and roll, all were initiated by a pick and roll in which Soriano had to be the defender. And it's going to happen, and it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And until we concede a little bit with how he'll defend up top or we change up our approach, I think it will continue to happen. But the worst part is, I mean, in the first 10 minutes of that game, Joel scored 9 of our first 11 baskets. So offensively, he's a huge key, but he was also Central Connecticut's key in terms of getting good looks. So it's a good and a bad with Joel, and we have to really figure out how to get the most out of him on offense and still make him a capable player on the defensive end, whether that's him getting better on an individual level or us making adjustments on the team level. But it has to happen because as soon as he comes out of that game, we go on a 9-0 run. And I like Joel. I think he's easily one of our 5 best players, but we have to do a better job of using him, or like I said, how we'll play all together if we're going to have him as our primary center. And if we want to reach our truest ceiling, then I believe he needs to be getting close to 25 minutes a game, at least over 20. But it was 40-36 at the end of the half. Like I said, they had 6 made threes. They were really getting a lot of good looks, not just threes. I think give some credit to them. They made some really good plays. They had a couple great looks, a reverse 3 on the layup on the baseline. That was a tough shot. A couple threes that I said were really well contested. And on our end, and offensively, we just never fully got going in the first half. We still scored 40 points. Jones didn't score, I don't think, until the last minute or so in the first half. He had a much better second half. But we took some tough shots. We never got in the flow, and we didn't string enough stops together. And that's what happens when you play against Division I teams. If those things take place, they'll hang around. And they were shooting like 82%. 5 or 6 minutes into the game, and if you get going and you feel good, then you're gonna consistently feel good. And you know, what is it? Men's Warehouse says 80% of looking good is feeling good. Well, 80% of shooting good is feeling good as well. And if we give those guys open looks early, they feel really good about themselves. And it's no surprise that they're going to continue to make shots if we give them a decent enough look throughout the game. So we really got to come out concentrated on Thursday and moving forward. Defensive presence early in the game, set the tone on that end, and the offense will come around. Nebraska gives us a good chance to do that. A Power 5 team that doesn't necessarily have a full Power 5 roster. Looking around the country, they would rank towards the bottom of Power 5 teams, but nonetheless, it's not a mid-major team. They'll have size, they'll have talent. So we have to come prepared and protect our home court. In the second half, I thought offensively we got going a lot better. I don't think the defense really improved at the beginning part of the second half. Honestly, I think the defense in the first 6 or 7 minutes of the second half was worse than at any point in the game. We just were better on the offensive end, and they missed some open looks, but they were still getting good shots. The first 2 plays in the second half were easy baskets inside off attacking Soriano at the high pick and roll. And that's just a reoccurring issue. We did see some zone. At that point, the game was kind of out of reach. I did like seeing it. I think it's something we'll have to see. We'll keep our bigs closer to the paint where they should be. So I like to see that moving forward. We didn't see much man-to-man full court pressure in this game. We saw some 2-2-1, which worked okay in spots. I thought Curbelo does a good job defending the ball full length of the court. I think Posh is a tremendous pass. I mean, I'm not breaking any news there. His ability to get steals and deflections is second to none. He does gamble sometimes, and tonight that cost us in a few plays. There was a three that comes to mind where he tried to gamble for a steal, and he ended up getting beat in the corner for a three. And there was another play where he got beat backdoor for a layup when he was trying to cheat up top for an easy steal. One thing I will say, and I don't think it's a negative in a general sense, I love when players are unselfish, maybe to a fault. And I think it has been to a fault a little bit with Posh so far. There was a handful of occasions today where I thought he gave up layups for sometimes it ended up with an easy layup for someone else, but other times not so much. The one in the first half, he went baseline and he had a layup right at the rim, and he instead passed it behind his back to Stanley, who fumbled the pass, ended up making the shot. But I thought Posh's look was a better look. There was a couple other times in the second half. And of course, some of them ended up in really nice plays. The off the backboard pass to Store is really not one I'm considering in this. But I like to see Posh look to score for himself a little bit more, especially in this two-guard look. Curbelo, I think, played a really good floor game, still a couple turnovers, really good defensively. He's not a scoring threat for the most part. Posh, if we're going to play them both a lot of minutes together, he has to look to score. And I'd hate to tell someone to be selfish. That's one thing I love most about players, when they're willing to make the extra pass. But there's a difference between willing to make the extra pass and making a useless pass when you've already got a good look. Just something to note. What else would I think was positive? We looked to get Soriano involved on the offensive end at the beginning of the first and second half. And we got him set, got his presence felt, and he did a good job converting. Offensively, he was great tonight. He was fantastic. It's a defensive end where he looks to get exploited, and we have to do a better job. Coaches do a better job of working that out still. AJ Store's offense, another bright spot, looking good, comfortable shooting from three. Doesn't have rotation, but I said, early on, I'm watching his tapes in high school. He made big shots in big situations, looked comfortable from the perimeter. I was not worried about his ability to shoot. Offensively, he is right there, ready to play with those other wings, if not past them. It's the other things where I think not so much Pinzone, but Mathis and Wusu have an advantage defensively and on the boards and knowing what to do. Not that Store won't catch up in those areas, but in the time being, it's going to be a give and take between what's best for the team now and what's best for the team future. Probably what's best for the team in the future is playing Store 25, 30 minutes. What's best for the team now might be closer to 18 to 20. And people may disagree. I think all those three guys, Pinzone, for whatever reason, was in the doghouse tonight. But Mathis, Wusu, Store, all three of those guys played pretty well. Mathis has played really well the first two games. He didn't have a great night tonight, but didn't hurt us. Wusu had a good second game, had a pretty good game tonight. Hit a three, hit another jumper, was active on the boards. And Store was a big-time scorer and a big-time athlete. I think it will be kind of a rotating bunch between those three. I just hope it's a consistent feel for all of them. And you're not playing one guy 6 minutes randomly for no reason, or playing another guy 30 minutes out of nowhere. Get him a consistent role. Who's ever playing best should get the most minutes. I think they all get their opportunities. They all bring a little something different to the table. 7 for 12 from the line tonight. That's a step back after doing really well from the line over the first two games. Stanley was 0 for 2. Soriano, I will say, had a few nice passes from the post. That's one thing we all know, is that when he gets the ball in the post, he's not just a black hole. He's a capable passer. He had a really good pass to Mathis in the first half for a three, and it's something that we'll see more of. Stanley got a couple nice dump offs from Jones in the second half, got him going with a couple easy baskets. He had a follow-up tip slam and then a nice catch and finish on a dunk. He did airball three that did not look pretty, but I think he looked more comfortable out there tonight. He did break those 2 free throws, but he looked more comfortable. We got him going still. NY. Send thoughts and prayers to him. That's a tough situation going on with his family. At least what the reports are. Hopefully, in due time he'll be back ready to play. But thoughts and prayers go to him. That's tough. Let's take a look at the box score. All right. Storer led the way off the bench, 16 points. He was 4 for 5 from 3. The majority, I think all 4 of them were corner 3 looks, if I'm not mistaken. Nothing real too much else in the box score. He did have 2 steals and a rebound. That's the only rebound he's had through 3 games. So I'd like to see him get a little more aggressive on the glass, perhaps offensive end especially. Use his athleticism and get a few easy buckets that way. Stanley on the bench had 6 points, 2 rebounds. Like I said, he was pretty active, played pretty well. 3 for 4 from the field, 2 blocks and a steal. Woo-Soo, 9 points, 4 for 8 from the field, 6 rebounds, no assists, 1 turnover. He's done a good job limiting his turnovers so far this year. And Pinzone didn't play in the first half. He had 2 points. Looked like he was trying to rush it a little bit maybe when he got in there. Understandable. I'm not sure if he just got forgotten about in the first half or coach was teaching him a lesson. But it looked like he felt the pressure to get going. And I've mentioned this over the last couple of games. It seems like he has predetermined in his mind when he wants to shoot it. And I don't think he's that type of player. I think he might just feel a little pressure to make an impact offensively. Hopefully he gets enough of an opportunity just to get comfortable and play his normal game. Kobe King had 3 points, hit a 3, had a couple nice passes in the first half, had a really nice drive and a dish to Store for his first 3 in the corner. Baseline one-handed pass looked really good. He also had a nice pass overhead where we didn't convert on the layup, I don't believe. But I like King. I like his game a lot. It's just going to be hard for him to get minutes. For the starters, Jones, 15 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, no turnovers. He did have a couple of the nice passes that didn't lead to assists, but I can remember one in particular, a pass to Stanley where he got fouled on the layup. He does a really good job of making passes when he drives. A little sloppy on the handle. I'm always a little bit uneasy when he begins his move, but he's a bona fide talent and a bona fide scorer, and a lot of our ceiling will be determined on how well he can score as the go-to guy in Big East play. We saw tonight in the second half when he's got it going, we can build up a lead. In the first half where he's not scoring so much, Central Connecticut State was able to play with us. Joel, 9 points, 5 rebounds. I think he had all those 9 points in the first half, I want to say. If not all 9, 7 of them at least. I thought I remembered one basket in the second half, but I must be mistaken because, I think he had our first 9 points. 5 rebounds, 4 for 6 from the field. I do like that we're looking to get him going, set him up some baseline screens and have him post up. I think he has to do a better job of getting position before he wants the basketball, before he's calling for it. Fight, do the work early, and then you get that position. When he's just floating for, rebounds are the same thing. He'll go try to grab a rebound and try to, use his huge body to clear out a guy. He just thinks being the biggest guy out there is enough. And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I'd like to see him, impose his will strength-wise and really established position for the ball and for rebounds. He can be a beast. He really can be. Posh, 12 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. Just an all-around good game for Posh. I think he could have had, 4 or 6 more points if he just took some easy shots. Still hasn't hit a 3 yet on the year. Perhaps worrisome. We'll see. Curbelo, 6 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, a couple sloppy passes. Couple nice plays. I thought he played a good game overall. Really good defensive effort. That end of the first half play stands out as something that is a big addition to this team. I'm not sure how often that would have happened last year or in the past. We had the ball, could take close to the last shot in the half. Curbelo gets the team set. He takes his time. He's patient. There's purpose. We run the play with about 10 minutes up on the shot clock. Ends up with Posh getting the screen at the top of the key. As Posh uses that screen, Curbelo cuts baseline backdoor. Posh feeds him with a perfect pass. Curbelo makes a nice reverse layup to finish the half. So that's a good sign. Being able to execute in situations like that. That's something we've noted plenty, and we'll hopefully see more so when the competition level increases. And then Montez Mathis, 13 points, 5 for 7 from the field, 1 for 2 from the 3-point line, 2 rebounds, no assists, no turnovers. 1 turnover. Another solid game for Mathis. That 1 3 hit, his feet were completely set. He took it in good rhythm. Montez with his feet set. Mathis still kicking. All right, it's good to see. But we get that win, 91-74. We shot 55% from the field, 36 from three, and 58 from the line. Central Connecticut State shot 51% from the field, 37% from three, and 67% from the line. What else did I want to show you guys? Let's look at our stats throughout these three games real quick. Interesting. All right. Jones, far and away our leading scorer, close to 19 a game. He's been rather efficient through three games, 40% from three, 86% from the line, 49% from two. He's also chipping in other areas. Steal a game, 3.3 assists a game. He averaged over 2 assists a game last year, close to 3. If he can average over 2 again this year with the other ball handlers we have, that will be a good sign, and not an easy number for a scoring forward in college to average close to 3 assists. Montez, the second leading scorer currently, 11.3 points, 2 rebounds, extremely efficient through these three games, 63% from three, 63% from two, 100% from the free throw line. You couldn't really ask for much more out of him. We'll see how long he's able to keep this up, and when it does eventually return down to where his averages should be, if they'll be better than they were last year. Obviously, he's not going to shoot over 50% for much longer, on a consistent basis. No one does as a scoring guard. Joel Soriano, 11.3 points. He's third, 9 rebounds. That's a really good number. That's 70% from the field. Another really good number. 60% from the free throw line on not many attempts. I'd like to see him get there more. We're going to have to, obviously see how he's able to keep up throughout the Big East year. But I'd like to see that minutes increase, those free throws increase. If you can hover around that 8-ish boards, I think that's good. If you can hover around that 11 points a game, I think that's good too. Posh, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2.7 steals, a little bit of everything. Nothing too out of the way of normal there. You maybe expect him to score a couple more points a game. Obviously, you hope he hits a few threes from now and then, but we'll see. Cabello, 10 points, 6 assists, 2.7 turnovers. Hopefully, he brings that turnover number down a notch. I'm sure the assists will drop a little bit, but I can see it hovering right around 5 throughout the year. If he can make 33% of his threes all year, I think we take that. But the starters, those 5, they've played well through these 3 games. Off the bench, Storr's giving us 9 points. Wusu's giving us 8. Pinzone, Stanley behind them, not getting much minutes. Wusu, 5.3 rebounds. That stands out. Storr, 67% from 3. That stands out. So a lot of good contributions overall. And, these numbers might be meaningless at this point in the season, but you can kind of get a feel for who's played well and where Mike Anderson sees the lineup as it stands currently. But, those 3 games were against very, very low competition. And anyone can beat you any night. So when I say low competition, it's in the general sense, but anyone can get beat. You got to bring your game. So the competition level does increase. We have Nebraska on Thursday, the Gavitt games. They're 2-0 with double-digit wins over Maine and Omaha. Let's take a look at their stats. Here we go. Their leading scorer, Sam Greisel, 20 points a game, 8 rebounds, 3 assists through 2 games. Not much of a sample size. CJ Wilcher, we recruited him a little bit. His brother played at Xavier. I think his brother played at Xavier, yeah, right? That's the same Wilcher. 14 points, 1 rebound through 2 games. He's led the team with 5 threes made, shooting 42% through those 2 games. He's probably one to watch on the perimeter. They don't have what seems to be a bunch of guys who look to really let it fly from 3, but still 34% through 2 games. Again, small sample size. Looks like they don't have a tremendously deep bench, but it'll be interesting to see how much of a pressure we apply against Nebraska. 12 turnovers a game in 2 games against weak competition. That's not an astonishingly high number, but maybe something we can exploit. I'd like to see us turn it up a notch defensively. I remember when they came and played us at Carnesec Arena, 5 or 6 years ago when it might I know I might be getting confused when South Carolina came to Carnesec Arena and we blew them out. I'm pretty sure we blew out Nebraska as well at Carnesec Arena. I like to just turn it up real quick. Let's see a second half that we played these previous two games in the first half of this game. Really come out, step on their throat, put it on them early, and then get the crowd into it, give the fans something to get excited about, and really kickstart this season, which would be 4-0 and essentially be the end of the extended preseason. You can't look past a team, any team, let alone a Big Ten team that is looking to get a big road win. But I'm looking forward to it. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the new subscribers. Keep listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or on YouTube. I really appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter at St. John's B-Ball Pod. Let me know what you think. Please keep tuning in. For Justin Simon, this has been Pat Kane. Peace.